Good evening. I am Smethles, your steward, and, if I may say so, it is good to see you up and about. You've been in your cabin the whole voyage. A touch of the mal de mer, was it? Seasickness can be quite unpleasant, especially if it's one's first crossing. Since you haven't been out of your cabin, may I instruct you on how to get assistance while on board the Titanic? Very good. We of the White Star Line hope that your stay on board Titanic is as relaxing as possible. As you explore the ship, please bear in mind the following advice. The mouse is your hands, the keys your feet. If you find the screen too dark or too bright, follow the directions on the control screen help panel or consult your manual on adjusting your monitor. To find the control panel help and other features, click on the life preserver at the bottom of the screen. The control panel has a help button, as well as a quit and save game feature. You may also adjust the volume. Test the settings by clicking on the black knob. You may also switch the theme music on or off. After making any adjustments, click OK to return to your current game. Wandering the ship, if you notice a hand, it indicates something to click on. May I suggest you do so? Several personal items in your room, a brown satchel, and a pocket watch, are quite useful to you during your voyage. Take them with you. You shall want to converse with other passengers. If you fail to understand them, click on their face. They will repeat their last sentence. The purser. His office is on C deck, just off the forward grand stairs. The elevator, or lift as we call it, has an attendant who can direct you to various sections of the lifts are located behind the forward grand staircase. Lastly, you may always find me by returning to your cabin, C-73, and ringing the bell to the right of the door. Your correspondence. 2,200 on board, and they all want messages delivered promptly. Even if it is 1912, and the Titanic, the most advanced means of sea conveyance ever devised, I still have only two hands. Here, a map of the ship for you. Compliments of the White Star Line. I have taken the liberty of indicating your cabin, C-73. Of course, on a Sunday evening at this hour, there won't be many people out. Will there be anything else? A young lady. A most insistent young lady. The electric camel, an exercise device. They say it is good for the liver. I wouldn't know. It's located in the gymnasium, on the boat deck, on the starboard side. That's the right side, in case you had not been informed. Port. If you're facing towards the front of the ship, the left side is the port side. Have you unpacked? You'll find your trunk key in your bag on the bed. If you require additional assistance, please ring the bell by the door. Good night.
A fine night to be indoors, cold as the dickens outside. Cold but clear. Clear as a bell, and the stars, oh, you should see 1,000,000 stars in God's firmament. A congregation of light. The name's Trout. The Reverend Edgar. I'm returning from a mission in Africa, to Sunapee, New Hampshire, where I live. Emily, my wife, she's dead. Thank you. We had looked forward to this journey. But she died at Port Said, though it was Nyasaland that killed her. The doctors, you know, never did find all the parasites. We've just ended a hymn sing in the second-class lounge. It's the Titanic's first Sunday afloat. For all those in peril on the sea, tell me, are you religious? Do not forget God, and do not collude with the godless. There are many on this ship. Leyland Trask, for example, a seer, a clairvoyant. He claims the most outrageous blasphemy. Remember, that which does not come from God is not of God. Wait, before you leave, I was wondering, perhaps you'd care to make a donation to our mission in Nyasaland. I am very happy. I shall call upon you tomorrow to discuss it. Good evening.
Hello. Don't think we've met. I'm Leyland Sacum Trask, metaphysical scribe and evangelist for the supernatural. I've been in London attending a conference on premonitions among the sensitive. You've heard of my institute, the Astral Bureau of Circulation, in Boston? The ABC is a place where mediums of impeccable character can commingle in harmony. There's a range, of course, but given the right training, psychics can reveal information hidden to others. This is a ship of destiny, which I think you know. I'm sorry, I'm getting no reading at all. Not even faintly. Good night.
Riviera broke me. Damned Frenchman. What do you want? Health nut, are you? It's on the boat deck. Above us. Yeah, it's a night, all right. A regular night to remember.
Glory be. It's about time. You're late. Another 5 minutes and I'd have cancelled your mission. What a botch up. Some idiot in the War Office booked me into second, not first class. And I've had a fine time of it too. The crew wouldn't let me in the first cabin at all. It's just today I located you. Yes, I'm Pringle. Penny Pringle. From the Bureau of Secrets. You didn't think they'd plunk you down on this bucket of bolts and millionaires alone, did you? Look at this. A German colonel named Zeitel. He's inspecting their embassies in Havana, Washington, and Mexico City. We know better. "10 days ago, the Bureau got word that Zeitel has in his possession a priceless copy of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, stolen 2 months ago in Paris after its purchase by a very highly placed member of His Majesty's government. The Rubaiyat's a book, a collection of medieval Persian poetry, a passion of his lordship's. Poetry. Persians. The German High Command must think it's important enough to have their top man smuggle the lot on board. It's your job to find out. His lordship's watching this very closely. Very closely indeed. I wouldn't fumble this chance either, unless you fancy spending the rest of your career in some grotty Midlands back office shuffling paper about. Have you seen the report? In your trunk? On the international situation? I'd jolly well read it if I were you. No. He's with the protégé. Name of Heidelitz, I believe. The two spend a great deal of time in the Café Parisien. Nibbling pastries. Get into the wireless room. I don't know or care how. Officer Morrow wouldn't let me in. See if Zeitel's received or sent any telegrams about the Rubaiyat. You've got a cryptograph in your trunk. It'll unscramble the German codes. You use the brains God gave you. Watch people. Listen when you find the Rubaiyat. Knock on my door. Cabin F, 34. Use the second-class stairs. You should be set. Remember, this is your big chance. Don't fail.
You came after all this time. It's Georgia. I'd heard you on board. Where have you been? It's been 5 years. I'd have waited a lot longer to see you again. Why didn't you tell me where you'd gone? Dina hadn't a clue, nor did Jack. My letters were returned. Just like you to show up now, with everything such a beastly mess. You must help me. You've no doubt heard the rumors. I won't deny most of them. I can't. Even if the money's gone, I won't give the diamonds to Charles. These are all that remains. My insurance for a new life without Charles or Saoirse. Saoirse? The owner of the Barbican Gallery? We're friends. Of a sort. He's sailing on the Titanic, taking some paintings to New York to sell. Please. I mustn't talk any longer. Take it. Take the necklace. It's my only chance now. Keep it for me. And don't tell Charles you have it. You can't know what he's like.
Good evening. Third Officer Morrow here. Sorry, the wireless room's off limits to passengers. No passengers allowed. Yes, very calm. No moon. I don't like that. Can't see what's coming. No moon means surprises, as if we don't have enough already. Mr. Ismay, the White Star Line's president's on board. We're walking eggshells round him, I tell you. Though that's nothing compared to the creeping about my brother-in-law's doing at the moment. His entire London office is in an uproar. Tom works in the Admiralty. Seems our plans for troop deployments against Germany disappeared 3 weeks ago. Tom says the big boys are petrified the Jerrys will get wind of it. Could upset the balance of power. Politics. Desktop espionage. Bureaucrats. Pah, give me the sea. You can toss the rest. Never have. Not since the war. South Africa. Boer War. The officer was a drinker. He was drunk when they trapped us out on the veldt. On a moonless night, it was a massacre. We never saw them coming. Drink always leads to the devil. An interesting connection. For all I know, it could be true. A man's got his troubles, sick child, being away from home. But I hate whiners and apologizers. Well, thank you for your insight. Have a look, why don't you? Mind you, Phillips will have my head if he catches you in there, but I don't see any harm. Go on in.
Come here. What do you know? You again. Don't you love this sea air? Really clears out the sinuses. Max Seidelman, Philadelphia, PA. Buyer for Haymaker's department store. The shoppy of Spruce Street, What's eating you anyway? You're always in a rush. Relax. We'll take Max's advice. Get over it. Sure, you'll lose sometimes. Yell. A little. Don't dwell. You a sporting type? You look like the sporting type. Come on down to the smoking room for a nightcap. Riviera's looking for someone to play a few hands of blackjack with. What do you say? Not much else to do. Not tonight. Brr. Cold as a cast iron commode. So, what do you say? Great. First, let's swing by the Parisian Cafe. There's a man there named Zeidel, a German. Claims he's a business, but he's got something up the sleeve, all right. I know the type, believe me. Dollars to donuts, he's in some racket. So come with, why don't you? We'll hit the smoking room from there. Hey, Colonel, how you doing? Willie, like you to meet
A pleasure. Hedlitz and I, we welcome diversion during such an uneventful passage, don't we?
Certainly.
Willie is at the University of Vienna, dissecting children's fables.
Cultural mythology, it's quite interesting. So only a junior professor, I tried to interest Dr. Freud. He's a genius, and
Yes, I am sure, quite. On the passenger list it says you embarked at Cherbourg, yet I have not seen you with the others. You were there, were you not? I see. You are British. Not so many of you in Titanic's first cabins. These days most of the rich are Americans. Businessmen like Max. Tell me, why do you go to New York? Business. How interesting, considering the British are not so good at it. Me? Inspecting our embassies. Imperial Germany desires to make a good impression in North America. Willie is continuing on, to the west, to conduct research on Aboriginal custom.
the Indians, they are fascinating.
Yes. However, I place faith in science, not superstition.
The Colonel was saying this wireless stuff's revolutionizing sending messages to each other. It's the end of books and newspapers.
Like the Titanic, a technological triumph. Here we dined in comfort while racing along at 20 knots. It's still tied to the outside world by the wireless.
That reminds me, Colonel Seidel, when I go to send you a telegram, They told me it was to be There are too many messages. The passengers...
I am sure our guests do not care to hear a detailed discussion of your encounter with telegraphy. Now, if you will excuse me,
Please, excuse us.
won't you call on us tomorrow, here, in the cafe? The Lindsay Tort's quite passable for a British ship. Stop by. Willie and I welcome it most heartily.
Yes, most heartily.
And before I leave, you must allow me to give you some advice. But do not wander the ship. It is not good, I think, on a ship as big as the Titanic. Good night, friends.
Good night.
See? What did I tell you? What did I say? Them too. Up to something, I'd say. The brainy kid gives me the creeps. What a grind. He should hang out with that little blonde. She's a looker, I tell you. Come on, let's hit the smoking room. I'll introduce you to Riviera. What do you say? Great. Go on up. I gotta see a man about a horse. I'll meet you in a few... Goodbye.
Daisy Cashmore, surely you remember. Oh, you are naughty thing. Don't think I didn't know you'd snuck on at Cherbourg. Smethels told me all about it. The old boy's always dripping with news. I heard about Lord and Lady Lambeth. Ruined utterly. Scarcely enough left for appearances, I'm told. I always liked Georgia. Married Charles for his name and his fortune, sensible girl. But she's made her nest. Now she must live in it. Well... what do we think? Gorgeous, isn't it? Everyone's raving, gushing. The Titanic couldn't be more fabulous. And the sailing couldn't have been more convenient. Everyone's here. The Astors, the George Wideners, the Countess of Ross, such a wonderful girl. The Strausses, I saw them on D-deck tonight. The Ryersons, the Henry Harpers. I could just go on and on. And the ship's so very advanced. I was just saying to my dear friends, the Carters, they're bringing back a motor car, do you believe, in the cargo hold. Bill Carter checks it daily. Really, every day. He keeps the keys with the purser. And of course they let them. The Carters are fantastically rich. Lucille doesn't understand the attraction at all. With men and machines, I tell her, we girls play second fiddle. Well... my dear, I have a little favor. A tiny, tiny, tiny one. Tonight at dinner, a man I don't know was making eyes at me. Be an absolute darling and find out who he is. Look him up in the passenger list. All I know are his initials, GQC. The list's
someplace. Find it. I'll wait right here. Ta!
Yes, can I help you? Keys? I think you should really hold on to those, don't you? As purser, I arrange dinner reservations, rent deck chairs, the usual shipboard duties. 5? Who are you, anyway? I haven't seen you about. And I've the passenger list. We've already had trouble with one lady in second who's tried crashing first class. Have you a name? If you do, I can tell you their cabin number. Let me check. Aha, Mr. George Quincy Clifford, A27. I live to serve. That's all then, is a good night.
Majesty's government has assigned an agent of the Crown to rendezvous with you on board the Titanic. Remain in your cabin until your contact gives you further instructions. After completion of all your assignments on board, book passage to remain on the ship and return to Southampton for your next assignment.
Hello. In need of psychic consultation? You know, a medium told me the only danger in my life had come on water. Salt or fresh, he did not say. Damn it all, I wish they'd be more specific. That pipe's been someplace quite humid recently. I'd visit the Turkish bath. Good luck. Good night.
I knew you'd come. Charles received a telegram from the solicitors. Our estate's to be sold off. He asked about the necklace I gave you. I told him I left it with a purser. Don't say anything to him or Sasha. Not him and his group of... Oh, there's much more to tell you. Can you meet me in my stateroom? I'm in B7. It's Charles' custom to go for a drink in the smoking room. When he does, visit me.
Let me introduce you to Buick Riviera. Remember, he's French, and you know what they... Come here.
Good evening, mon ami. Buick Riviera welcomes you to the tables. I am always delighted to play with friends of Max. You look familiar. We make a meeting before? Deauville? The casino at Monaco? New Mexico. I lived there once. In Diamondback. Such a town. So, have we met? C'est vrai. Then we shall use my special cards.
Good luck. You'll need it.
Care for blackjack? You are the winner. Magnifique. Another hand, mon ami? Bonne chance, mon ami. Good night.
I don't know you, nor do I want to. Leave me or I shall summon a steward. Tell me, do you approve of women who smoke? You're witty. Most men take their indulgences one at a time, combine them like women with tobacco, and they pitch fits. Pity. Andrew and I wintered in Cairo. We returned via Paris, where we ran into all sorts of people, including that charming German Colonel Zeitel. He had a great interest in rare books. It will be wonderful to be home. No dust storms, no lepers. Mr. Trask predicts a banner year for me. Trask? A brilliant seer. Brilliant! I consult him about business decisions, and he's never steered me wrong. He instructs me to travel on only 2 ships, the Titanic and the Lusitania. I must stop our chat here. I've other concerns. My maid, she's left us. Yes, well, good night.
Lord Lambeth. I'm traveling with my wife, Lady Lambeth. George has decided to take the air. I opted to take this. My wife, Georgia, she's unwell. Yes, it's not the best situation, I'm afraid. And just one of my trouble. Too many to speak of. With Georgia, how else? 4 years ago at a house party, she enchanted me. We got married and we're happy. But Georgia's moods grew volatile. She imagined plots against her everywhere, even with Sasha. Sasha cares more for money than for her. I know that now. He's on board, actually, shepherding a collection of paintings to New York. Money to Sasha. He's an art dealer. Money is everything to him. But Sasha has his secrets, and I know about them. Ever hear of the Black Hand? They're a secret band of Serbian nationalists. Their goal is to fashion a greater Serbia out of various bits of the Balkans. Anyway, Sasha's half Serbian. His gallery's their London meeting place, though I rather doubt Sasha's too involved. Terrorism isn't profitable. Besides, the Atlas Society coverage rarely extends to Sarajevo. But that's a secret. Good night. And if you should speak to my wife, remember, she tells some fairly tall tales.
Did you get it? Get his name? Clifford. Clifford. Never heard of him. You don't suppose he's rich, do you? You're an angel, and I've news for you, too. While you were gone, Andrew Conkling's been asking for you. Yes, Conkling, the steel bear. God knows what he's been doing in Europe, buying it probably. Where was I? Oh, yes. Andrew Conkling asked me to pass along this. You know his wife Beatrix, the designer. Such an eye! Her clothes preserve the bust line. Couldn't be more flattering. Keeps the eye moving. Much nicer than Worth's. They're friends with Captain Smith. Smith! So handsome, so dashing. White Star's best officer, or was. He's retiring after this voyage. Couldn't be more tragic. My dear, you've blanched. Bad news? Certainly, certainly, I must... It's Mrs. Burbank! Consuelo!
Enter. I wasn't sure you'd come. Andrew Conkling? He's loaned money to Charles. A lot of it, I think. First, I want to know how you fared these last years. Rather well from the looks of you. I'm glad to see you. You're the only person I can trust. Please promise me you'll help. You always were there when I needed you. Now, with my life a horrible mess. When Charles discovered my affair with Sasha, he was quite calm. But I know him, you see. His revenge is taking the necklace, leaving me with nothing. And so I'd never trust him again. Don't you see? They're looking for guns, for bombs. Sasha's friends, his gallery was their London base. They were rough men, foreign. Sasha told me they were part of a Balkan aid society. Stupid girl that I was, I believed him. But then I found out. These people, they... Charles!
Please, Georgia, continue. Was it my title or my income you found so desirable? I was never sure. Now that both assets are depleted, why don't you go to Sasha? Maybe he can help, as he's done before.
Ignore him. I see the smoking room's had its usual effect.
Idle gossip, apparently.
You see his attitude? Please, go.
Since she obviously can't depend on me. Here, take the chill out of the air. Thank you for seeing after my wife. Now I think it best you leave the happy couple, drowning in their happiness. Good night.
Remember, I need your help.
May I be of assistance? The purser. His office is on C deck, just off the forward grand stairs. The elevator, or lift as we call it, has an attendant who can direct you to various sections of the lifts are located behind the forward grand staircase. Good night.
Evening, I'm the lift attendant. And you'll not find one better at taking you where you want to go. Where to? Mind the gate. It's a cold night, this. Pretty much everyone's early to bed. Makes me job that much easier. Your deck now.
I say, what's your step?
Are you hurt, Henry?
No harm done. No harm.
I'm so sorry.
Trod on my toe.
We're the Goss Joneses from Haltwhistle, you know. How are you finding the crossing? You're English, then? I would have thought American. Oh, my. I didn't mean to insult you.
Can't hold a thought.
Dreadfully large place, America.
Brain like as if...
All that space, and all those immigrants trying to fill it up. I was just commenting to Henry, on a White Star crossing one meets all the right people. While we were just chatting with a delightful elderly couple in the reception, the Strausses.
Own a small dry goods store in New York somewhere, called Macy's.
On D-Day.
Ribena, must you always finish my sentences? You're as jumpy as that American chap, that photographer.
Yes, he was just snapping away.
Taking pictures of some German colonel and that Englishman.
Snap, snap, snap.
War's coming all right, mark my words.
War? How beastly. Will Mr. Burns have to fight? He and his wife, such sweet things. But I do see her point. It is their honeymoon. Why he insists on snapping those photos, I haven't a clue.
For God's sake, woman, talk, like a madam in a Rangoon bawdy house.
Henry, that's unspeakable.
So don't speak then. Yaps louder than a scrum of rabid corgis. Now see here, this Burns chap.
If you want to see something interesting, take a look at his pictures. He's on C deck, cabin C, 78.